The vast emptiness of space suddenly lit up as the human exploration vessel Pioneer dropped out of its experimental warp field. Captain Tom Reed squinted at the main view screen, his weathered face showing both excitement and caution. This was humanity's first journey beyond their solar system, made possible by Dr. Alan West's gravity manipulation breakthrough just 3 years earlier. "Status report," Tom ordered, his deep voice steady despite the historic moment. "All systems normal, Captain," replied Officer Meg Jones, her fingers dancing across the control panel. "The warp field collapsed exactly as predicted. We're approximately 4 light-years from Earth." None of them expected what happened next. A massive ship, at least 20 times the size of Pioneer, shimmered into existence directly ahead of them. Its surface gleamed with an iridescent metal unknown to human science, and it moved with impossible grace for something so large. "Incoming transmission," Meg announced, her voice tight with tension. It's in English, sir." The main screen flickered to show a tall, elegant being with pale blue skin and eyes that seemed to contain galaxies. Behind the alien figure stood others of various shapes and forms, some barely recognizable as living creatures. "Greetings, humans of Earth," the blue being said, its voice melodious and precise. "I am Ambassador Rin of the Galactic Federation. Your gravity manipulation signature was detected by our border sensors. This is highly unusual for a species at your development stage." Tom stepped forward. "I'm Captain Tom Reed of Earth. We meant no intrusion." Ambassador Rin tilted its head, those star-filled eyes blinking slowly. "No intrusion, Captain. Rather, a pleasant surprise. Most species require millennia to develop even basic gravity manipulation. Your achievement has caught the attention of the Federation Council." The ambassador explained that the Galactic Federation consisted of 18 advanced civilizations that had mastered interstellar travel through various means. Each species brought unique talents to the collective, but one race, the Vasheri, were universally acknowledged as the unrivaled masters of gravitic manipulation. "The Vasheri have studied the art for 12,000 years, Rin continued. "Their abilities allow them to bend space-time with thought alone. They can dance between stars without ships if they wish." As Rin spoke, a tall, slender figure moved forward. The being had silver skin that seemed to ripple like liquid metal, with 6 elongated fingers on each hand and eyes that glowed with a faint purple light. "This is Admiral Dorn of the Vasheri High Command," Rin introduced. "He has been assigned to evaluate your species' potential." Admiral Dorn studied the humans with an expression that even across species barriers could only be described as skeptical superiority. "Your gravity drive is crude," Dorn stated flatly, "but you achieved it thousands of years before our models predicted possible for your kind. This requires investigation." The Federation's sensors had detected something unusual about human neural structures, something that puzzled their scientists. After a brief discussion with Earth's governments, an agreement was reached. Humanity would be tested for possible Federation membership. The tests would focus on gravity manipulation skills, the cornerstone of advanced galactic technology. Admiral Dorn personally selected the human representative based on brain scans from the Pioneer crew, a former fighter pilot with no special scientific training named Jack Miller. "This Jack Miller shows unusual neural activity in the spatial reasoning centers," Dorn explained, though his tone suggested he expected little. "He will represent Earth in the gravitic trials." As the Pioneer returned to Earth with the Federation representatives, no one, human or alien, could have predicted what would happen when Jack Miller stepped into the testing chamber. The Vasheri had trained for centuries to master their art, but they were about to witness something that would shake the foundations of their 12,000-year civilization. Jack Miller stood nervously in the gleaming white testing chamber aboard the Vasheri mothership. At 34, with short brown hair and ordinary features, he looked nothing like the hero humanity needed. His hands, calloused from years of flight controls, fidgeted with the hem of his plain blue jumpsuit. "I'm just a pilot," he had protested when told of his selection. "Why not pick one of our scientists?" Admiral Dorn had simply pointed to the brain scan results. Your spatial awareness centers show unique patterns. You are the logical choice. Now, surrounded by alien technology, Jack felt anything but logical. The chamber was a perfect sphere, with no visible entrance once the door had sealed behind him. The walls glowed with a soft blue light, and in the center floated what looked like a small silver ball. Through a hidden speaker, Master Troll's voice echoed in the chamber. The Vasheri instructor had made no effort to hide his disdain for this primitive being attempting their sacred art. The test is simple, human, Trell explained. The sphere before you is a gravity field generator. Our initiates train for decades before touching one. You will be given basic instructions only. In the observation room, high-ranking officials from all 18 Federation species watched with various expressions of curiosity and skepticism. Earth's government had sent Dr. Emma Reed, a neurologist who had studied the brain scans, as their observer. She stood straight-backed and tense, knowing humanity's future might depend on what happened next. The generator responds to mental commands, Master Trell continued. Visualize gravity as a fabric. First, try to create a simple depression in that fabric beneath the sphere. Jack took a deep breath and focused on the floating ball. At first, nothing happened. Then, to everyone's surprise, the sphere dropped slightly, hovering at knee height. Beginner's luck, muttered one of the Vasheri observers. Master Trell continued. Now, create an upward push, an anti-gravity effect. Jack closed his eyes briefly, then opened them. The sphere shot upward, stopping perfectly at the same distance from the ceiling as it had been from the floor. In the observation room, Master Trell's assistant leaned forward. That's unusual control for a first attempt. Now create a lateral movement, Trell instructed, his voice showing the first hint of interest. Jack didn't just move the sphere sideways. He made it trace a perfect circle around the room's equator, maintaining exact distance from the walls at all points. The room of observers fell silent. Try something more complex, Dr. Reed suggested through the communication system. Jack, remember those flight simulations with variable gravity wells? Try something like that. Jack nodded, a small smile forming. He focused on the sphere, and suddenly it began moving in a complex three-dimensional pattern, diving, rising, spinning in tight spirals, then stopping instantly before repeating the pattern in reverse. That's impossible, Master Trell whispered. That's a fifth-level mastery pattern. Admiral Dorn stepped closer to the viewing window. How long have you practiced gravity manipulation on your planet? He demanded. We haven't, Dr. Reed answered honestly. Our gravity drive was only invented 3 years ago, and it doesn't work anything like this. Jack has never used anything similar before today. Master Trell's voice had lost all condescension when he spoke again. Human, Jack, try to create multiple gravity points simultaneously. Jack frowned in concentration. The single sphere suddenly split into 5 smaller ones, each moving in its own orbit around the central point where the original had been. In the observation chamber, the Vasheri masters stared in shock. One of them, an elder with eyes that had faded to pale lavender with age, slowly rose to his feet. In my 400 years, he said quietly, I have never seen an untrained being accomplish this. Something unprecedented is happening here. Admiral Dorn turned to Dr. Reed, his silver face unreadable. Your species requires further study. This human has accomplished in minutes what takes our best students centuries to master. How is this possible? Asked a representative from another Federation species. Dr. Reed watched Jack through the window, her scientific mind already forming theories about human evolution, Earth's unique gravitational environment, and neural adaptability. I don't know yet, she replied honestly, but I intend to find out. In the chamber, unaware of the commotion he had caused, Jack was smiling now, moving the gravity points in increasingly complex patterns, feeling like he'd finally found something he was born to do. The testing chamber doors slid open with a soft hiss. Jack stepped out, his face flushed with excitement, but otherwise unaware of the historic moment he had just created. The corridor outside was filled with Vasheri officials and Federation representatives, all staring at him with expressions ranging from awe to suspicion. "Did I do something wrong?" Jack asked, suddenly uncomfortable under their intense gaze. Admiral Dorn approached, his liquid silver form seeming more rigid than before. "On the contrary, human, you have done something no non-Vasheri has ever accomplished. The Council requests your presence immediately." The Grand Council chamber of the Federation mothership was a vast circular room with 18 massive seats arranged in a circle, each designed for the unique physiology of the different member species. At the center stood a small platform where Jack now waited, feeling like a specimen under a microscope. Master Trell addressed the Council first, his voice carrying unusual emotion for a Vasheri. "Honorable representatives, I have spent 300 years teaching the gravitic arts. What this human accomplished in 1 hour exceeds what our best students achieve after 50 years of training." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. "Show us," commanded a massive being composed of what appeared to be living crystal. A holographic recording appeared above Jack, showing his test performance. The Council watched silently as the recording displayed Jack's intuitive control over gravity fields, his natural understanding of complex multi-point manipulations, and most shockingly, his creation of what the Vasheri called gravity harmonics, field patterns that resonated with each other to create stable, complex structures. How? The simple question came from a small, reptilian council member. How is this possible? Dr. Reed stepped forward from where she had been waiting with other human representatives. "With your permission, I may have a theory." The council leader, a being of pure energy contained within an environmental suit, gestured for her to continue. "Humans evolved on a planet with unique gravitational properties," Dr. Reed explained. "Earth has a large moon relative to its size, creating tidal forces that affected our evolutionary path. Additionally, our planet's gravity varies slightly at different locations due to density variations in the crust." She activated her tablet, displaying human brain scans. "We've always known humans have unusual spatial reasoning abilities, but we believed this was simply for navigating three-dimensional space. What if it's more? What if humans evolved a specialized neural network for sensing and adapting to gravitational variations?" Master Trell studied the brain scans with growing interest. "You suggest these neural pathways allow intuitive understanding of gravity manipulation?" "Exactly," Dr. Reed nodded enthusiastically. "What the Vasheri have spent centuries developing through rigorous training, humans may possess as an inherent biological adaptation. A gravity sense as natural to us as sight or hearing." "Impossible," declared an elderly Vasheri master. "Gravity sensing at this level would require—" "May I demonstrate something?" Jack interrupted, surprising himself with his boldness. The council leader gestured permission. "Could I have several gravity generators, please?" Jack requested. When 5 small generators were brought forward, Jack arranged them in a pattern. Without activating any controls, he closed his eyes and concentrated. The generators began to hum, creating a complex interlocking field pattern that formed a 3-dimensional structure resembling Earth's solar system in miniature. "I'm not controlling each point individually," Jack explained, eyes still closed. "I'm feeling how they want to align with each other, like hearing harmony in music." The council chamber fell silent. "In 12,000 years of Vasheri history," Admiral Dorn said slowly, "no one has described gravity manipulation in these terms. We have always approached it as mathematical precision, never as intuitive harmony." A Vasheri scientist stepped forward, her instruments scanning Jack. "His brain activity is extraordinary. The spatial reasoning centers are fully activated, but so are the auditory processing regions, as if he's literally hearing the gravity fields." Master Trell, who had begun the day dismissing Jack as an untrained primitive, now looked at him with new eyes. "This human isn't just using our techniques. He's experiencing gravity in a fundamentally different way than we do." The revelation hung in the air like the gravity fields themselves, unseen but undeniably powerful. "I think," the council leader said carefully, "we have much to learn from each other." Jack smiled nervously. "I'm still not sure what I did that was so special." "That," said Admiral Dorn, "is precisely what makes it special." The Federation science vessel Inquiry orbited Earth, its sensors pointed downward at the blue planet. Inside the main laboratory, Dr. Emma Reed worked alongside Vasheri scientists, analyzing data that streamed across holographic displays. "The gravity variations are subtle," observed Trin, the lead Vasheri researcher, "but they exist across your planet's surface in patterns we've never seen elsewhere." Emma nodded, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Earth's core is dynamic, our tectonic plates constantly moving. Add the moon's influence, and humans have evolved in an environment of perpetual gravitational flux." For 2 weeks since Jack's remarkable demonstration, the scientific teams had worked tirelessly to understand this unexpected human ability. The Federation Council had authorized a full research mission, recognizing the potential implications. Jack entered the lab, looking more comfortable in his Federation-issued uniform than he had in the testing chamber. His natural talent had made him the center of an interstellar scientific investigation, something he still found hard to believe. "How's it going?" he asked, glancing at the complex displays. "We're making progress," Emma replied. "The Vasheri have provided brain scans of their most accomplished gravity masters. We're comparing them to yours." Trin manipulated the display to show 2 brain models side by side. "Observe the difference. A Vasheri master shows development in these specific regions after centuries of training." He pointed to brightly colored areas. "Your brain shows similar development, but also activity in these additional regions, areas we don't use for gravity work." Jack studied the images. "What does that mean?" "We believe humans perceive gravity fundamentally differently," Emma explained. "The Vasheri approach gravity mathematically, learning precise calculations to manipulate fields. Humans appear to sense gravity fields intuitively, almost like feeling music or seeing colors." "That matches my experience," Jack said. "When I work with the generators, it feels like finding the right note in a song, not solving an equation." Admiral Dorn entered the laboratory, his silver form catching the light. Despite his initial skepticism, he had become deeply invested in the research. "The Council is requesting updates," he announced. "What have you discovered?" Emma activated a presentation she had prepared. "We've developed a theory that explains Jack's abilities. We call it gravitational neural adaptation." The display showed Earth from space, with gravitational field lines visible as overlay patterns. Humans evolved on a planet with constant gravitational variations. Our early ancestors had to navigate terrain with different gravitational properties, slight but significant enough to affect movement and balance. Those who could unconsciously sense and adapt to these changes had survival advantages. "Like animals that can sense magnetic fields for migration?" Dorn asked. "Similar, but more integrated into our overall sensory experience," Emma continued. "We believe all humans have this ability to some degree, but most aren't conscious of it. Jack's neural structure shows an unusually developed version of this adaptation." Jack looked surprised. "You're saying all humans might be able to do what I did?" "With training, possibly," Trin replied. "Your ability appears to be exceptionally strong, but the basic neural architecture exists in all human brain scans we've examined." Admiral Dorn considered this information carefully. "If your theory is correct, humans possess a natural advantage in gravity sciences that the rest of the Federation has spent millennia trying to develop artificially." "There's more," Emma added. "We believe Jack's abilities extend beyond what he's demonstrated so far. The neural pathways suggest potential for much finer control." "How much finer?" Dorn asked. Emma hesitated before answering. "Based on our calculations, he might be capable of manipulating gravity at the quantum level." The room fell silent. Even Jack understood the implications. Quantum gravity manipulation was theoretical even to the Vasheri, the holy grail of gravitic science. Admiral Dorn's expression darkened. The High Commander must be informed immediately. If humans truly possessed this ability naturally. He didn't finish the sentence. Is something wrong? Jack asked. Perhaps not wrong, Dorn replied carefully. But this discovery will change the balance of power in the Federation, and not everyone will welcome such change. As Dorn left the laboratory, Emma and Jack exchanged concerned glances. Their scientific breakthrough was rapidly becoming something more complicated and potentially dangerous. News of the human gravitational ability spread through the Federation faster than light itself. Within days of Dr. Reed's theory being published in the Galactic Scientific Registry, Jack became the center of an interstellar political storm. Federation species that had long lived in the shadow of Vasheri gravitational superiority suddenly looked to Earth with new interest. The inquiry's communication system chimed with an incoming priority transmission. Admiral Dorn's face appeared on the main screen, his silver features unusually tense. Dr. Reed, Mr. Miller, I bring news from the Federation capital, he said without preamble. High Commander Vex of the Vasheri has issued a formal challenge. A challenge? Jack asked. What does that mean? Dorn's expression grew more serious. The gravitational duel is an ancient Vasheri tradition. It predates the Federation itself, a competition to demonstrate mastery of gravitational arts. Dr. Reed stepped closer to the screen. Why would they challenge us? Jack's still learning to control his abilities. Politics, Dorn replied simply. The Vasheri have built their position in the Federation on their gravitational expertise. Your discovery threatens thousands of years of established order. Jack ran a hand through his hair, looking overwhelmed. Can we decline this challenge? Federation law requires such challenges be honored, Dorn explained. If Earth refuses, it will be seen as an admission that your abilities are exaggerated. Earth would be barred from Federation membership for a standard century. The implications were clear. Humanity would lose access to interstellar knowledge and protection, just as they were taking their first steps into the galactic community. What exactly is this duel? Jack asked. A competition of gravitational manipulation skills, Dorn explained. No human has ever witnessed it, let alone participated. The Vasheri have selected their champion, Master Bren. Dr. Reed's face paled. Master Bren. The same Master Bren who wrote the Federation's standard text on advanced gravity theory. Dorn nodded. The same. He has trained for 4 centuries and never lost a match. And how long does Jack have to prepare? She asked. The challenge is set for tomorrow. Tomorrow, Jack exclaimed. That's impossible. I need more time to train. That, Dorn said grimly, is precisely why they chose tomorrow. Federation law only requires 24 hours notice. Jack paced the room, his mind racing. What are the stakes? If you win, Earth will be granted immediate Federation membership with full privileges, including access to all gravitational technology databases. If you lose, Dorn hesitated. Tell me, Jack insisted. Earth will be classified as a Tier 3 developing world, barred from all gravity-based technology sharing for 100 years. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity's future among the stars hung in the balance. I can't do this, Jack whispered. I'm just a pilot. I've barely begun to understand what I can do. Dr. Reed placed a hand on his shoulder. Jack, you've already done what the Vasheri thought impossible. Your innate ability might be our only advantage. Admiral Dorn leaned closer to the screen. There is something else you should know. I've analyzed Master Bren's previous duels. His technique is flawless, but predictable. He relies on established patterns, the same ones Vasheri have used for millennia. And Jack doesn't know those patterns, Dr. Reed realized. He approaches gravity differently. Exactly, Dorn nodded. What the Vasheri see as your weakness might be your strength. Jack took a deep breath, squaring his shoulders. What happens in this duel? What exactly will I need to do? "I will send you the basic rules," Dorn replied. "But remember, you have something no Vasheri has ever possessed, a human's intuitive understanding of gravity. Trust that instinct." As the transmission ended, Jack stared out the viewport at the stars. Somewhere out there, Master Bren was preparing for tomorrow's duel, confident in his centuries of training. Jack had one day to prepare for a contest that would determine humanity's place in the galaxy. "No pressure," he muttered to himself. The grand amphitheater on the Federation capital world hummed with anticipation. 18,000 beings from across the galaxy packed the circular arena, their diverse forms creating a living tapestry of colors and shapes. At the center stood a perfect sphere of clear material, 30 meters in diameter, the dueling chamber. Jack paced nervously in the preparation room, dressed in a simple black jumpsuit provided for the occasion. Dr. Reed watched him with concern. "Remember what we discussed," she said. "Don't try to match Bren's techniques. Use your natural instincts." Jack nodded, his mouth dry. 4 centuries of training versus 1 day of preparation. No problem. Admiral Dorn entered, his silver form unusually solemn. "It's time." Walking into the arena, Jack felt thousands of alien eyes tracking his movement. The crowd fell silent as he approached the chamber. On the opposite side, Master Bren made his entrance. The Vasheri master moved with perfect grace, his slender form radiating confidence born from centuries of mastery. His silver skin gleamed under the lights, marked with the intricate patterns that indicated his high rank. Both contestants entered the chamber through airlock-like doors. Inside, they faced each other across the empty space. Between them floated 20 small silver spheres, the gravity generators. The head judge, a being of pure energy contained in an environmental suit, spoke through the chamber's communication system. "The gravitational duel will commence in 3 phases. First, precision. Second, complexity. Third, innovation. Contestants will manipulate the field generators to demonstrate mastery. The duel ends when one contestant can no longer match or exceed their opponent's demonstration." Jack's heart pounded in his chest. He had spent the night studying recordings of previous duels, but nothing prepared him for the reality of facing a 4th-century master. "Begin Phase 1. Precision," the judge announced. Master Bren moved first. With a slight gesture, he arranged 10 generators into a perfect 3-dimensional representation of the Federation emblem, a complex pattern of interlocking circles. The crowd murmured appreciatively. Jack's turn. Drawing a deep breath, Jack focused on the remaining generators. Rather than copying Bren's display, he arranged his 10 spheres into Earth's solar system, with precisely scaled distances and orbital patterns. "Interesting choice," the judge commented. "Different, but equivalently precise." Phase 1 continues. For the next 20 minutes, the duelists traded increasingly difficult demonstrations of gravitational precision. Bren performed with mathematical perfection, executing maneuvers that had been refined over millennia of Vasheri tradition. Jack, unable to match Bren's classical training, relied on his intuitive understanding. Where Bren created static patterns, Jack created dynamic ones. Where Bren demonstrated power, Jack showed finesse. Phase 2. Complexity, announced the judge. Master Bren began by creating a cascading series of gravitational wells, each feeding into the next in a demonstration that drew gasps from the audience. The pattern required simultaneous control of 15 generators. When Jack's turn came, he closed his eyes briefly, feeling the gravitational fields rather than calculating them. He created not just wells, but waves, gravitational ripples that moved through the chamber in harmonious patterns. The generators danced in complex orbits that seemed to respond to each other. In the audience, Dr. Reed leaned forward, recognizing what Jack was doing. "He's treating gravity like music," she whispered to Admiral Dorn, "creating resonance patterns." The duel intensified. Bren's face showed the first signs of strain as he pushed his centuries of training to their limit. Jack, despite his inexperience, seemed to grow more comfortable as the challenge increased. Final phase. Innovation, the judge declared. Master Bren executed his masterpiece, a gravitational configuration so complex it had taken him a century to perfect. The 20 generators arranged themselves in a pattern that created a stable pocket of altered spacetime at the chamber center, a demonstration of control that had never been exceeded in any previous duel. The audience fell silent, certain the human would fail to match this display. Jack stared at Bren's creation, understanding he couldn't surpass it through conventional means. Instead, he reached out with his mind, feeling the gravitational harmonies. "I don't need to exceed your pattern," Jack said quietly. "I can transform it." With subtle mental adjustments, Jack created counter-resonances that didn't fight Bren's pattern but enhanced it. The gravitational field began shifting, evolving into something new. A multi-vector gravitational shear that simultaneously controlled all 20 objects in opposing directions while maintaining perfect stability. Master Bren's eyes widened. Impossible. The judge's voice carried clear amazement. In 4,000 years of gravitational duels, this technique has never been witnessed. Jack held the pattern steady, his face showing concentration but not strain. Master Bren attempted to respond, but as he reached for the generators, his control faltered. For the first time in 4 centuries, the perfect master had been surpassed. "The duel is concluded," the judge announced. "Earth's champion prevails." As the chamber doors opened, the amphitheater erupted in sound. Jack stepped out, blinking in the bright lights, barely comprehending what he had accomplished. Humanity had just earned its place among the stars. 10 years passed since Jack Miller's historic victory in the gravitational duel. The Earth Embassy on the Federation capital world stood as a testament to human innovation, a building that seemed to float effortlessly above the ground, its graceful architecture incorporating principles of gravitational harmony that had revolutionized galactic engineering. Inside his office, Jack looked out at the city skyline. Now Admiral Miller, Earth's representative to the Federation Council, he had come a long way from the nervous pilot who had stepped into that testing chamber a decade ago. "Admiral, they're ready for you," announced his assistant. Jack nodded, straightening his uniform before making his way to the conference room. Inside waited representatives from 12 Federation species, including Master Bren, no longer Earth's rival but one of its strongest allies. The harmonic drive test was successful. Jack began without preamble. The prototype achieved stable warp transition, using 1/10 the energy of conventional drives. The room buzzed with excitement. The harmonic drive represented the culmination of a decade of human-Vasheri cooperation, a gravity-based propulsion system that made previous interstellar travel methods look primitive by comparison. "Remarkable," Master Bren commented, his once haughty demeanor replaced by genuine respect. "From discovery to practical application in just 10 years. It took the Vasheri 3 millennia to develop our first gravity drive." "Different approach, different results," Jack replied with a smile. "Your mathematical precision combined with our intuitive understanding created something neither could have achieved alone." The changes went far beyond propulsion technology. In medical centers across the Federation, human-designed gravity manipulation devices treated conditions once considered incurable. On mining worlds, precision gravity tools extracted resources with minimal environmental impact. Even in art and entertainment, gravity-based performances created sensory experiences previously unimaginable. After the meeting, Jack and Bren walked through the embassy gardens, a place where Earth plants grew alongside alien species in a carefully maintained gravitational environment. "Do you ever think about that day?" Bren asked. "The duel?" Jack nodded. "Often. I was terrified." "As was I," Bren admitted, surprising Jack. "Not of losing. That seemed impossible then, but of what your abilities represented. Our entire civilization built its identity around mastery of gravity. Then humans arrived and demonstrated it could be approached completely differently. It must have been difficult for your people," Jack observed. "Change always is," Bren replied, "but necessary. The Vasheri had reached the limits of our approach. We were perfecting the same techniques for millennia, but not truly innovating. They stopped at a viewpoint overlooking the capital city. In the distance, a massive construction project was underway. The first harmonic gateway, a new type of transportation hub that would allow instant travel between Federation worlds. The gateway will be operational next month, Jack said. The Council is calling it the most significant advancement in Federation history, and it would not exist without the partnership between our peoples, Bren noted. A small group of human children ran past them, laughing as they played with personal gravity manipulators, toys that let them float small objects in complex patterns. Behind them walked a Vasheri instructor, watching with obvious delight as the children intuitively grasped concepts that had once required centuries to master. That is the true victory, Bren said, gesturing toward the children. Not the technology, but the sharing of knowledge. Jack nodded in agreement. The Federation worried our different approaches would cause conflict. Instead, they created harmony, Bren finished. As the sun set over the capital, ships of various designs moved through the skyways, many incorporating the new human Vasheri hybrid technologies. What had begun as an embarrassing revelation for the Galactic Federation's elite had transformed into its greatest advancement in millennia. That evening, in a ceremony broadcast across 18 worlds, the Federation Council formally established the Joint Human Vasheri Academy of Gravitational Sciences. Students from all species would learn both the mathematical precision of Vasheri tradition and the intuitive approach of human innovation. "We stand at the beginning of a new age," announced the Federation president. "One where the combined wisdom of all our peoples creates possibilities even our founders never imagined." Jack watched from the audience, remembering the nervous pilot who had stepped into that testing chamber years ago. The species that had once been dismissed as primitive newcomers now helped lead the Federation into a golden age. Proof that sometimes the greatest strength lies not in centuries of tradition, but in seeing the universe through fresh eyes.